Hello guys, my name is NaToSaphiX. Today we have another. This time it is the Face It cheat code now on Anubis. Now, if you haven't watched the Face It cheat code on my YouTube channel before, it's basically a video series where I will be preparing you to play your absolute best on one of the maps, both in pugs but also from like a team perspective. If you don't know who I am a former professional Counter-Strike player. I've played for a few different teams, most notably Heroic, and I'm here to teach you how to play different maps. We have already an episode out on Mirage. This is for Anubis. And there'll be a few different main topics that we'll be covering today. I won't be able to go through everything because I simply won't have enough time. But what I can do is go through the most important topics, which will give you the most in the shortest time. I have decided 6 topics are the most important. It's first of all on CT, understanding the importance of utility. The second one is the map is T-sided. How do we know that the map is T-sided? How can you tell a map is T-sided? And how can we change it to become CT-sided? The third one is that the CT AWP needs to commit, since retaking is basically impossible. That's kind of just a statement. I will prove it with what I'll be showing you. Then for the T side, we'll be talking about the super move in Connector. I call it the super move. It's pretty sick. I don't think you've seen it before, but once you have, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me, it's pretty sick. Then I have like a former teammate called Azilion, who has a combo that I think is actually pretty sick, but teams are not using, so I'll be sharing that with you as well. And then the last thing I have is using an A execute as an anti-eco. Again, sort of, not really a statement, but it's just, you can do that, and I will explain you why that is smart. So, starting out with the first topic, which is understanding the importance of utility. Well, on Anubis, because it is a T-sided map, smokes are really, really valuable to have. We have many different choke points that are easy to hold once it's smoked off, but if the smoke does fade, we are kind of screwed. So the best example is B main, a place that you will want to keep smoked a lot of the time. Another example is Connector, where this smoking in front of Connector is very common. We want the sort of mid choke point smoked right around here, which allows us still to peek the window. I threw the smoke a little bit poorly, but you get the idea. And then we also have either A main here or deep A main. These are all choke points that are very nice for us to have utility for. And understanding the importance of utility on Anubis City side is what is going to win you games. So first of all, there are many different ways where you can keep your utility. On B main, for example, you can still use a smoke early on, but there are possibilities to info jump in a way where you get information, and then you can also obviously jiggle. If the hit starts coming in, or there's a smoke coming in, or flashes, whatever, all you gotta do is bounce off the Molotov from this thing. It will land in the opening, and it will now keep the T's back for a short while. If they choose to smoke the Molotov, well, this is basically like giving you a free B main smoke, and it will be much easier to defend if that's the case. The same can kind of be done here in Connector, with that you can jiggle with the Molotov, or you can jiggle from the right side. No matter what, whichever way you jiggle, it's possible for you to block con with minimal risk. So if I'm jiggling here and I get contact, I can take a step back and I can just molo here. The T will probably still be able to see me from back here, but it's just one single angle, and if you feel like it, you can even pre-fire this. If you're jiggling from the right side, all you gotta do is just tuck in your Molotov off this, and now you win back the Connector control. Big thank you to CSGOEmpire for sponsoring this video. CSGOEmpire has recently added cases to their long list of things to do on their site, which means you can now open cases with far greater odds than the ones in CS2 itself. On top of this, they have 0% fees on their marketplace, meaning good deals for both buyers and sellers. Withdrawing your money is fast and convenient, plus their 24/7 customer support is ready to help with any issues you may run into. Use the link below or use code NA2 for a free case with up to $1,500 in prizes when you sign up. The reason why these ways of playing are important to note is because they allow you to hold your utility until the exact moment where you kind of need to use it. What a lot of people do at lower levels, and even in team matches, also at the professional level, is they will be kind of wasting their utility. They will be using their util when it seems like the right time. There isn't anything necessarily wrong with that. It is just the fact that if you use your util when you feel like it's the right time, and you play against people who play very slow, well, then you will get punished. When playing pugs on Anubis, this is rarely some issue that, like, it's rarely an issue you'll run into, because most people in pugs play the rounds out very quickly. But if you are to face a T-sided team that plays very slow and wait out utility and stuff like this on their T-sides, at a professional level, or if you're trying to become professional, this is definitely something you can learn from. Trying to play in a way where you can hold your util. It's kind of possible every spot. I think in mid it's a little bit more difficult, but on A, for example, it's always possible to jiggle these angles. And if you get contact, fall back and do just any molo. This will be enough that the T's get at the very least slowed down. You also jiggle, and when you get contact, you just go back, drop the smoke, and now you have some sort of safety. Understanding this, what I call magisk, just the same as the player, basically. Jiggling in and out of angles is really, really key. And yeah, especially on a map like Anubis, where you will run out of utility some rounds, especially at the pro level or in team games, understanding the importance of this is going to help you a ton. Moving on to the second topic. The map is T-sided and everyone knows it. How do we sort of confirm this within ourselves, and how do we make it CT-sided? So thinking about the maps in the map pool right now, which are T-sided, it's almost hard to come up with anything at all. Probably the most T-sided map we have in the map pool right now is Inferno. And the thing with Inferno is it is a map where the safe CT rotation is very, very slow. Anyone who has played Inferno probably knows how long it takes to run all the way around without making noise and get over to the other bomb site. This is typically a very good indicator that a map is T-sided, because if the safe CT rotation is taking very long, it requires you to have the correct read, and if the T's are good at faking, if they are good at playing with rotations, this is something that will punish a CT team who don't stack correctly from the beginning. So how do people deal with Inferno being a T-sided map? Well, the way they did it is they started fighting for banana control. They do retakes with flashes. They try to update information as much as they can. And this is typically what CTs naturally have to start doing on maps where it's T-sided. Now, a map like Anubis as well, we do have a quite fast rotation, which is through tempo and running over to mid and running to A. This is a CT rotation that takes something like 6 seconds. And it would be very easy for an AWP player to do this. The problem is that this is not the safe CT rotation on Anubis. This one is quick, but if the T's have mid control, well, then you will be in a world of trouble if you try to do this rotation as an AWP. Which is why a lot of the time you will end up going tempo, running all the way around here, running here, and then running around, and then coming to A. Even worse is it if you are playing on B side, and like from here, you have to go all the way around this way, and it just takes so damn long. So, taking a page out of the Inferno book, which has had a lot more time to be discovered, how do we make sure that we turn our Anubis CT side into a very strong side? How do we change the map from being T-sided to being CT-sided when we ourselves are CT? Well, there are a few things that you normally do as a pro Counter-Strike player to facilitate this. And one of them is, for example, fighting for area. On Inferno, I mentioned it already, you can fight for deep banana control. And if you win this area, it's much easier for you to stack accordingly, because the early info you get on Inferno will allow you to rotate in time, basically. An example of this could be if I get a flash out B main, I check everything, I know B is clear. What I could potentially do is I could jiggle with a smoke or a Molotov. If I get contact that the T's are coming back to B, I fall back, I wait 4 or 5 seconds, and now I smoke. This is kind of the same concept as Inferno Banana, except this is sort of less powerful, since the B side has multiple entrances, which makes Anubis even harder to defend on CT. What about A? What kind of space can we take? Well, some teams have been theory crafting or trying to smoke the stairs and go and take over this area as a CT. And while it does feel like you're gaining a lot, and if you're able to hang on to this area, you are gaining a lot. The problem is it's actually quite easy for the T side to retake this area. If there is no smoke, or like when the smoke stairs come, if the T's decide to give up this space for free, all they have to do is basically do one good smoke right around here. This ain't it. I don't know, anything like this would probably work. All they gotta do is do this smoke, and now they can clear this corner kind of for free. I'm sure if people would look into it, there is probably a Molotov lineup where you can Molotov here. I haven't actually tested it myself, but looking at it, it should definitely be possible to throw a Molotov that lands there in some kind of way. Either way, standing here is not that comfortable for CT, because while you do have a lot of information on mid, you know that they don't go A, you know they don't go water, this is not a position where you're going to multi-kill from. And especially if you've done the stair smoke, this is not a position where you will be unexpected. This is a position where you will be very expected. This is another indicator that this is a very T-sided map, because even as a CT, if we fight for space, it's not really advantageous for us to hold on to it. And that's what makes Anubis CT side so damn hard. So if we can fight aggressively for space and hang on to it and win, like, how can I say, win rounds based off this, what is the other option? Well, it is what I called timed CT regression. Oh my god, imagine I spelled that wrong. I might have. I don't think so. Did I? Maybe. Who cares? Either way, while there are some spaces like B that I mentioned already that can be quite nice to have space in, and also it sometimes happens that CTs push down here and leave one guy here and have one guy baiting there. Who knows? This is something that is, especially with the water area, very rare. And here in B main, it's something that can happen, but again, it's not a space where you can hang on to it super easily. Like, all these angles are very all in, and you basically have to play it in an info way. Well, the timed CT regression is where when the T's are about to do an execute, or about to do a pop, or about to do one of these things, we want to be updating information by doing timed CT regression. So a normal time for CT regression to be good on basically any map is around 45 to 50 seconds left. This is because this is normally when the T side, if they are playing slow, will group up and commit to hitting a side, basically. So imagine that I have a teammate here, and I am the B player, I've been playing info, and I know they can't be on the right side. If I do just a flash on the right side, my teammate goes out and he checks, he can say B is clear, and now we can more heavily stack towards A, maybe with someone still playing info with like playing Magisk with a Molotov, so that if they come connector, you can block, and you can fall back and stay alive. This timed reaggression is what is going to be allowing us to stack appropriately. And due to the rotation being so damn long, we need this information as early as possible. So have this in mind, understand the importance of utility, and on a T-sided map, the way to win rounds as CT is timed CT reaggression. Try to do reaggressions as a team with flashes or with a double push or something like this when you think there is space to be had. Around the 45 to 50 seconds is normally pretty good. In a POG, it might be a little bit earlier. For example, if your teammate hears a lot of people outside A in the water, now is maybe a time where you want to just contact B and take a risk. That is also a timed reaggression that will allow you to stack, and it will be kind of the way where you can put the ball in your court. It's how you can gain back the advantage that you are lacking on a map like Anubis, where on the CT side it is just very difficult. Sort of piggybacking off that is the fact that one of the things I wrote down is CT AWP needs to commit, since retaking is basically impossible. I think this is a map where the CT AWP has to play very heavily on his reads. If he wants to start mid, it has to be because he thinks people are going mid at the start. If he wants to start A, it has to be because he thinks that people are going A at the start. While this seems kind of obvious, it's just more so the case that on a lot of maps, let me see if I can come with an example. A map like Mirage, if you start window and the T's go B, you still will probably have a chance to get a kill. If you start with AWP window and T's go A, you will definitely have a chance to still get a kill. But on a map like Anubis, if I'm starting B and holding this, and now they just go A, when I'm gonna get to the A bomb site, the round is already over. And I'll show kind of why. It is basically because if this choke point gets smoked, it's almost impossible as CT to get out. There are too many good angles from which to hold this. Oh, I hit my smoke deletion bind. But there are too many good angles for the Ts to hold this, where the CTs won't really be able to do a whole lot. There isn't that much you can do in terms of doing some kind of retake smoke that goes through a roof. I guess it kind of is possible, but it's not that easy. Flashing out here is not that easy because this is in the way and just everything is awkward, so it will have to be some kind of underhand flash that anyone playing close to smoke can hear. The same goes for this. If the Ts can be here and they can be here, it's really unlikely you're going to win this round, and that's why, as an AWP player, if you're not here on time, you likely won't have any impact. Same goes for B. If you're starting A or you're starting mid, the fastest rotation will be to tempo, but very quickly, what the Ts will have as their goal is, when they come out B, they will throw either a Molotov or a smoke and tempo, and as soon as either of this utility goes down, you as an AWP player likely won't be able to get any impact whatsoever. If you manage to go CT, this is a place where you can actually maybe get a kill from someone crossing, but standing behind the tempo smoke and having to wait this out or having to run through it with an AWP is just almost always going to end poorly for your CT side. And that's why, as an AWP player, you have to have the mindset that wherever you are going there to block. On a lot of maps, you can play one side and you can still make it to help or do damage or have impact on the other side. On a map like Anubis, the place where you are when the hit comes in is typically where you will have the impact. So if the Ts go A and you are B, it's kind of unlucky. There's not a whole lot you can do. But if you are B and they hit B, you have definitely a chance to have massive impact. So trust your gut, rely on your reads. That's something that's going to help you a lot. Let me show you the first T-sided thing, because this is the next part of the FACEIT cheat code. I've given you some tips on how to understand playing better CT side, but anyone who has now watched that part will probably ask, okay, what can I do now extra on T that will make it so if I am against people who understand how to play CT, how can I still win? Well, I'll give you 3 tools, and I'll go through it a little bit quick, because I think already we are pretty high on time. I'm not quite sure, but maybe. If you go in here, and actually I don't even have my jump throw forward bind ready. I put the tip of my grenade here, and then I do jump throw forward. This is a smoke I have found myself, and what it does is it goes over and it lands right here. The reason why this smoke is interesting is because what most Ts will do is they will smoke here in front of cave, which will allow them to go close with AKs, and then after the smoke is faded, now they can go in and take the space. The problem is that the way the CTs will play against this is, if the CTs see the T smoking this, they now know, okay, for 15 seconds, no one is going to go into a connector or cave, or whatever you want to call it. And what they will do is, when this smoke is about to fade, they will just re-smoke it, and now it's 30 seconds where you haven't been able to take control of this area whatsoever. On top of this, it's a really risk-free way for the CT to play. He doesn't have to worry about getting flashed, really. He doesn't have to worry about getting Molotoved or naded or anything like this. And because of this, he can kind of do whatever he wants. It's kind of time where he can just relax. To put the pressure on the CT, what I prefer to do is doing this smoke and having an AWP player holding cave. The reason why this is better is because this smoke makes it so the CT is forced to either play inside connector or he has to give up the space. So how will the CT play inside connector? Well, there's one way, which is taking fights, and then he will probably die to the AWP. The other way of playing inside connector is, let me throw this smoke once more, is that when this smoke comes on over, what he will do in response, because he is feeling pressured, is he will do this smoke to buy himself some space inside connector. This, first of all, leaves him open to flashes, but it also leaves him open to this move, which is basically the super move. So if you see this part of the gray area and you put your crosshair like so, and you step back, there is a corner you get stuck in. If you take a running step forward, This is a Molotov that burns everything up here and only leaves this line free, basically. As you can imagine, if this smoke comes down and this smoke comes down, the way the CT will play is inside connector, and that is why this lineup can be really good. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to find it, especially if the smoke is like a little bit interesting. I could see it there, so now I can do this Molotov. And with this Molotov, I now know the CT can only be standing in this small line. The people who have played a lot of Counter-Strike will already understand where the super move is going. But basically doing this smoke, and the CT responding with a smoke of his own, and this Molotov coming in, because the CT is only able to stand in this small area, now me as T, I can spam that one line, and if the CT is playing inside here, well, I will kill him for free. He won't have any chance really to shoot back. And if he isn't here, so basically if I don't get the kill, this is now an indicator for me that I can walk through the smoke without worry. I can go and I can do the Molotov. Bam. I can go here and I can spam. Okay, I didn't get a kill. I can just walk freely through the smoke and I don't need to worry. Now I've gained connector control, and it's very difficult for the CT to block this. The best thing he can basically do is, after my Molotov, is re-Molotoving it and trying to take back the area. The problem for the CT is that this smoke is going to fade before his Molotov is going to fade, and so is his own smoke. So his Molotov only blocks it for a short time, but you're forcing the CT to either give up the space completely or to use all his blocking util. When I say blocking util, I'm talking smoke and molo. This is why this is, in my opinion, the super move, because it is a very annoying thing that puts a lot of pressure on the CTs on B, partly because the CTs have to be aware that you have taken or could take connector for free, or the CTs either way will be out of blocking util if they actually use it to block this area. By putting a lot of pressure on Con, the CTs are even more pressured from B main as well, because now their setup will be much worse. If they know that Con is not a worry, well, this guy can just chill right here, and he can help B main, so that if this guy gets contact, like we talked about earlier, if he's jiggling, he Molotovs, then you still have this guy who is now able to stop anyone coming through. But if Con is taken, there aren't that many good positions that this guy can play, and that's why doing this super move is something that will hopefully help you a lot. One thing I see, and this is kind of topic 5, one thing I see even professional teams do, not necessarily wrong, but not as good as you can, is mid control. A lot of teams will be fighting very heavily for the start of mid control, using a lot of util at the same time as the CTs, and then won't really have a good plan for how to take the next area. If you have an A player who isn't needing their util, I will show you some util that your A player can do. I found 2 lineups for smokes. You can get stuck in this carpet. If you aim here and you do a regular jump throw, this smoke will go over and land very fast here. The issue with this smoke is that it does go out kind of wide. So I did find another lineup if you prefer. Same position, you just aim here instead. I think. I hope that was it, right? Yes. It wasn't exactly the lineup. You can practice it yourself a little bit, I guess. I had one that went much deeper, and it is possible to find one that goes much deeper. It's kind of a little bit what you want. I think the other one has an advantage from being very fast, but again, it is a little bit what you want. It is possible to get a smoke that lands in here, and then the CT will have a harder time pushing through the smoke, potentially, because there will be less cover. What you can do, if you have your AWP player, or even if you have a rifle player coming close to the doors in mid, is that this player can throw, I think, this flash? Definitely not. This player can throw this flash, which is a flash that pops up here in the door. It's very neat because it's extremely hard for the CT to dodge. It will absolutely destroy the guy who is playing this angle. It will absolutely destroy the guy holding this. It will, if someone is playing like at the rock, holding like this, he will also get blind. Just in general, this is a flash that will allow you to peek this with minimal risk. So if you would like, you can get your A player to do this util set. So this smoke, he can come over, he can do this flash. With this flash, you can peek, and now immediately this smoke as well. And then what the A player can also do is just looking for the opening here and bouncing a Molotov through. With this Molotov and this smoke, there is basically no way that the CTs can block mid. The only thing they could do is if their tempo, for example, is smoking off camera, so it's harder for UST to go through it, or they can try the Molotov. But typically, the rotation player or the mid player will have already used the util at the start of the round on blocking the early parts of mid. And so it's unlikely that you will get heavy blocked by a Molotov or a smoke. The combination or sort of the timing of each grenade is a little bit up to yourself. If you prefer getting the Molotov first, then getting the flash and peeking with these two in unison, that is also possible. While the Molotov is still burning, like the combo could look like this. Molotov, flash, you can go back. This guy can line up, do this, and now as the Molotov is about to fade, now this comes in, lands very quickly. Okay, I don't know what the hell happened here, but now the smoke has been thrown and the players from here can split, while the A player can hold for push and can start harassing a little bit A main. This is what I call the Zillion combo, because I have it from him. And I think it's a really good way of taking mid control with minimal risk. What I think is especially good about this mid combo is it's actually possible to fake with, in that you can do the Molotov, do the flash, do the smoke, and you technically don't have to have any players going through mid. It is possible to fake and do a B pop after using this combo, as long as you do it correctly. But that would probably ensure, or like, that would probably need you to do the smoke first, basically, if you want to be using it for a fake. I don't know, this smoke is crazy, man. Okay, for the last thing that I want to teach you, it is good for solo queue, like it's good for pugs, and it's also good for team Counter-Strike. It's basically just a sort of eureka moment I had a few weeks ago, that when CTs on Anubis have low money, so a force buy, for example, with small pistols, they won't all of them be buying smokes, and because of this, they will have, just in general, when people force buy or have low buy with MP9s or whatever, they will have limited util. Now, an A execute on Anubis is incredibly strong, because doing this smoke, doing this Molotov, and doing this Molotov makes it so the only position that you can use to guard A is either pillar or side. The way that CTs counter this execute is by either smoking or Molotoving this opening, or doing some kind of smoke here that allows you to buy time for your team to come in, and even that is rarely working out very well. What I have found out is that if you have a buy round and you're playing against low money, if you go and take over A main control, so just taking this space and letting the CTs know that you've taken it, so something like one guy flashing from the back, bouncing it, one guy swinging with the flash, or preferably two people swinging with the flash, they take this area. Now, the common reaction, if the A player is playing alone and only has a 5-7, will be to use their smoke early. When they know you have A main, they will want to block you so that you don't immediately go A and win a round, because the A player with a 5-7 won't be winning this round, unless they have a smoke up here in A main. If you take A main, and the CT A player does not use their smoke on this opening, it, I would say 95% of the time, means that the A player does not have a smoke. Maybe again you can see where I'm going with this. If the only way you can block an A execute is by having a smoke, how are you going to block it without a smoke? I mean, that sounds kind of stupid, but the point is, if you pressure the A player when he has low money, he will have to use the smoke if he has it. And if he doesn't, it means he has no smoke. This allows you to do just a simple execute. It's really not very difficult. I will probably screw it up now because I've just said this. Between these two metal parts and normal jump throw, this should be a good heaven smoke. You on purpose don't want the heaven smoke to go too far to the edge, because if you do, then it will creep down. I think actually maybe this is jump throw forward. Let me see. I think so. Yes, like this. This is the perfect smoke, so it's jump throw forward. With this jump throw smoke, you can aim here and do a normal jump throw molo. This one goes over and lands broken wall, and as you can see, it burns very far out. I like to go here, and I'm looking for this brown line at the top, so it's also kind of in the middle of this thing. And then I do double click jump throw. This is a camera smoke that lands very fast, and the reason why I like doing it from this position is because you can immediately aim here, and then you have a Molotov that lands right in front of the camera smoke, and yeah, that's really all you need. You need this smoke, this Molo. I fucked that up because I don't have a jump throw bind right now. My bad. You do this, bro. The lack of jump throw bind is something I need to fix. You do this, and now you have these two Molotovs that basically burn everything. You have these two smokes, and now if the A player is defending with a 5-7 alone on the bomb site, there is basically no way. Potentially, if you want to do like a full A execute, you can even Molotov pillar. You can even safely Molo side. And now there is literally nowhere the A player can play, except for maybe this angle. But this is something that just one good flash can very easily take. This is why doing an A execute against like as an anti-eco or an anti-force buy is super strong. Because any A player will use their smoke if you take A main. And if they don't use their smoke, it means they have no smokes, which means the A execute is even stronger. Those were the 6 topics. I will quickly recap. Understand the importance of utility. We talked a little bit about how you can keep your utility for longer. We talked about it being a T-sided map and how we know this, and also how we make it CT-sided. This is more like just in general on T-sided maps. How do we make the T-sided map feel more CT-sided? It is timed reaggression. It is the taking of space. The reason why Anubis is very T-sided is because there isn't good areas you can take as CT. There aren't many aggro plays you can do that will gain you space that will win you the round. It's basically only B main. Then we talked about that the CT orb needs to commit. If you are A and they execute B, you likely are out of the round. If you're B, they execute A, you are definitely out of the round. If you are A and they go A, you have a good chance. So commit to your reads, that's it. On T side, we talked about the super move in connector. The one where we do smoke here, we do Molotov, we do spam. We talked about the Asilion combo, which was the thing from here. And then we talked about using the A execute as an anti-eco. Those were the 6 main topics that I think you need to know to understand how to play Anubis at a semi-pro to a pro level. And really, I think it's a valuable information even if you are just a player playing at the lower tiers of Counter-Strike. So, I've been your host, NaToSaphiX. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please do like and comment and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is NaToSaphiX, and I'll see you guys in the next video.